Even recertifying your accreditation, I think you will be able to benefit from this presentation. My name is Zakenya Neely. I've served as the Director of Accreditation for NAFCC for 3 years. I'm located in New Orleans, Louisiana. I don't know if you all hear my accent. Usually people tell me that they do. When I am in New Orleans, I am currently transitioning to Director of Strategic Partnerships with NAFCC, and we do have a new Director of Quality Assessment and Recognition. Her name is Andrea Maldonado, and she could not be with us, but I'm certainly going to be still supporting accreditation and supporting the accreditation overviews just to make certain that everyone really, just get a snapshot of what it means to be accredited and the credential and how really to get started. And so the presentation is about 35 minutes. Afterwards, we can have a Q&A session if you have any questions about what was presented with the accreditation process and NAFCC overall. So again, welcome, and I am grateful for your time. Let me share my screen. Let's see. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Let's do one more thing. All right, here we go. So this overall presentation is called The Commitment to Quality in You, and it's an introduction to your NAFCC accreditation journey. And as I stated, this is certainly to help family child care educators who are interested in becoming accredited, as well as if you're recertifying, and for all of you, the mentors and coaches and support agencies, this will be very helpful as well for you. So before I get into accreditation and the core elements of it, I just like to talk about NAFCC briefly, just to let you know that being a part of NAFCC is being a part of one of the largest family child care networks. We are the nation's leader in the business and practice of family child care, and home to the only national accreditation for family child care systems and programs. And we provide training and recognition to support early educators and are specifically focused on family child care. Being a part of NAFCC means being able to take advantage of our different elements of the organization, which includes continuing education. We offer that through our professional development support, of course, accreditation, making certain that we have the highest and best practice of standards for family child care. Professional development. We have our new professional development platform on our website at nafcc.org, which supports the accreditation required training hours and helps support continuing education as well. We also pride ourselves on being an organization that lifts up and amplifies voices for family child care educators through our policy and advocacy engagement. And we do have opportunities for career advancement here for leaders like yourself in the field to participate in various aspects of NAFCC. Our accreditation council, we have programs called the Leaders Shaping Leaders program, where family educators are paired with each other to support each other in their communities and uplift family child care. So there's a wealth of opportunity in joining the largest network of family child care providers through NAFCC. The benefits of becoming a member with NAFCC certainly is about connecting with your peers and growing, and also, just growing your network. And so connecting with the largest network of professional family childcare providers in one place. Um, I would say that advancing professionally and personally is one of the benefits that all of our members really lean into, and that's being able to take advantage of our training resources and business tools that we do have available, like our professional development support. Also, it's about joining the conversation and being privy to the latest information first as a member, and being a part of a grassroots movement that supports the power of family childcare. As a member, you do have access to online trainings and webinars, and we do send out a wealth of information monthly on the latest policy updates, things happening with accreditation, and all things family childcare. We believe that your commitment to accreditation is really driven by your purpose, right? And why are we here? Your passion and your commitment to rising to new levels and priding yourself as a family child care educator. In this presentation, we really focus on accreditation process. And so the learning objectives are really understanding what it means to be an accredited provider, learning the process about the accreditation process, and it also is about becoming the process to become an accredited provider through NAFCC. First, we start off with what is an NAFCC accreditation credential? NAFCC administers the only national system designed for family child care providers. We offer accreditation in 50 states. We're recognized across all 50 states, and we do have programs in Japan and Germany. Our accreditation is awarded to family child care educators who meet the highest quality standards for home-based early care and education. And so part of our quality standards, family child care educators achieve this through our 5 core competencies, in which you will examine your family child care program against this. So we have about 289 indicators now that span across relationships, environment, developmental learning activities, health and safety, and professional and business practices. And so I'll get into what that means for the training requirements for each of these core components. But this is how we examine your program against our quality standards. The benefits of an NAFCC accreditation credential is that it shows your community and your parents that you are committed to quality and truly support growth and development of children. It helps with improved staff morale and competency, and it really provides that professional realm overall, and concretize your professionalism in the early child care education system as a family child care educator. But I'm circling this because most importantly, it requires you, it allows you to be a part of a self-evaluation system, increases professionalism. It also is a validation of your program standards and approaches because it is aligned with what is set out to be best practices by experts in the field. And it also enhances marketability of programs to families. On our website, we do have a map of the entire United States, whereas when you become accredited with NAFCC, we do have families that search our website to see where they can find a family child care home in a particular state to offer their children a safe and nurturing environment. So certainly in the enhanced marketability of your program to families is one of the great benefits that we do have in having your NAFCC accreditation credential. And so what does this do for you? It ensures quality by using standards and rigorous evaluation criteria, as well as stimulate family child care towards higher levels of quality and efficiency. And most importantly, the accreditation provides a system for public trust and accountability within your community. You are a part of the workforce system, and having an NAFCC accreditation credential really substantiates that and affirms that public trust and accountability. It also increases subsidy rates in some states upwards of 20% per child. So, what is required for the NAFCC accreditation eligibility? You must be at least 21 years of age, have a high school diploma or GED, provide care to a minimum of 15 hours, provide care to children for a minimum of 15 hours per week, provide care to at least 3 children in a home environment, meet the highest level of regulation available in your state, so be licensed in your state. Also have a favorable federal and state background check, and be in good health with mental competence and physical stamina to care for children. We do comply with the NAEYC Code of Ethical Conduct, so we ask you to adhere to the NAEYC Code of Ethical Conduct and complete at least 120 clock hours of documented family child care related education or training. This circle is what the process illustrates for the NAFCC accreditation journey. It starts off with our self-study enrollment, and then counterclockwise, it goes to the application phase, observation, decision, annual updates, and then reaccreditation. I will take a deeper dive into each one of these core elements of the accreditation journey. Phase 1 is your self-study. This is the most important step in NAFCC accreditation. It's a 2-part process, and this is really where you get to be honest with yourself about your business practices and how they are aligned with the quality standards. And so you must review all of the quality standards to achieve mastery level, which prepares you for our observation. And also it's about looking at it to see if you have all of the information for the eligibility requirements. So doing self-study, you'll be collecting information on the eligibility requirements, as well as reviewing the standards to make certain that your business practices are aligned. Right now, we require a minimum of 6 months before you are eligible to apply for accreditation. And as I stated, that self-study is about examining your program and evaluating your operational practices against our quality standards. And it is simply preparation for your accreditation observation. After you've completed the self-study phase, you are now ready to go through the application submission process. And so I'm happy to share with you that we now have our accreditation portal via Salesforce. So it is live. And so Salesforce platform is really a seamless and central place to access all of the necessary application forms and next steps while tracking your accreditation and observation processes along the way. Right now, we still are accepting applications through March 15th online, or you can scan and email it. All of this information is on the NAFCC website at www.nafcc.org. However, after March 15th, we are requiring that everyone uses the NAFCC accreditation portal via Salesforce, and all of the steps are on the website, as well as technical assistance office hours to support you with the portal setup. And so you will see that under the accreditation tab on our website. So the NAFCC accreditation application requirement checklist, it consists of your application fee, the annual membership, your license, health assessment, TB screening, first aid and CPR, state and federal background checks, and your training log and verification. Training requirements for first-time applicants only. You are required to have 120 clock hours of workshops, documented family child care training or education within 3 years of the application. If you teach classes or workshops, you can submit that to us and we will give you up to 18 hours of credit for that. All of your trainings must have 12 hours each of the core competency areas that I mentioned before. If you have a degree as a first-time applicant, we will certainly honor that degree as we celebrate continuing education. And it reduces the amount of clock hours of training needed. College courses and CEUs are accepted and transcripts will be required. If you are in school, we will accept your transcripts as credit for clock hours. And Child Care Development Association Associate Awards are also welcomed and support the clock hours, and then that you will not be required to have 120 clock hours. Additionally, you can use your CDA. So what are CEUs and how are they calculated? CEUs, and I'm sure most of you know this, stands for Continuing Education Unit. And so we calculate it as 1 CEU is equal to 10 clock hours. A CEU is a unit of credit equal to 10 hours of participation in an accredited program designed for professionals with certificates or licenses to practice various professions. If you have your college degree, we will, for a master's related degree, give you 54 hours of credit for your first time applying for accreditation. Bachelor's related is 42 hours. Associates related is 30 hours. Bachelor's unrelated is 18 hours. This is just a glimpse of what the core competency training requirements will look like when you actually purchase a self-study enrollment kit. And right now too, Lynn, I want to share with you that we are going to be releasing our 2023 quality standards. That release will be early March. And so every 5 years, we update our quality standards, but it'll have the same format in the accreditation self-study enrollment kit. But when you actually, purchase it and get into it, this is what those indicators will look like when you start evaluating and I'm talking to the family child care educators, when you start evaluating your operational practices against the quality standards, this is what the core competency areas will look like. As it stands, the accreditation application fees are $45 for a membership fee, which gives you deeper discounts into our accreditation services. $315 for the self-study guide, $525 for the application fee, $160 for the 18-month update, and $100 for your co-provider fee. So if you're asking what is a co-provider, a co-provider is another provider in the home, and they resemble an assistant, but they are not required to live in a family child care home. There is an additional fee of $100 for the co-provider to be included on your application process, and they will be a part of your observation if they are included in your application process. So after you submit your application, now what? So right now, we have reduced our processing times. It takes about 3 to 4 months from the time of the application was received, and more or less 3 months to process your application and get you ready for your observation phase, where a trained NAFCC observer will visit your program, and we will review all of your documents and your observer workbook based upon those practices the observer have identified. It takes up to 3 to 4 months to get awarded. Phase 3, after the application submission, all of your documents are complete, and we have moved you to phase 3 of the accreditation journey. This is when you will actually go through our observation phase. And the goal of observation is to determine if your operational practices are aligned with the quality standards. When an observer comes to the home, they want to see a typical day of the program. And so we offer observations through standard, which is on-site observations, and virtual. And our standard on-site observations are unannounced. Our virtual observations, if chosen, are implemented, scheduled via Zoom. Virtual observations will require a 1-hour pre-visit day. And this is to just ensure that your internet is stable, that you have a laptop. It cannot be done over the phone. You do your pre-interview with your observer and just kind of get all of the nervousness and jitters out about observations. Observations are also available in Spanish upon request. And at this time, the observer will gather all of the program information, and it'll be reviewed objectively against the standards. And all of the observations, whether it is virtual or on-site, it lasts between 4 and 5 hours. Also, I want to point out that parent surveys are required as part of your application in completing the observation process. We require that you have at least 80% of parent surveys to be able to complete your application process. And this is done during this period, during the observation period, and you will submit that directly to NAFCC. So in your self-study enrollment kit, again, you will get these forms that we have called at-a-glance form. This particular form is highlighting what you need to know for your observation visit. And so it lets you know what the observer will and will not do. So when you are getting an observation visit, the observer will present themselves as a member from NAFCC, greet you and introduce themselves to the children and parents, if parents are there, observe 4 to 5 hours. They will not be a part of the program, but really be a fly on the wall in the program. They're going to ask to look at your records, and the visit will be kept confidential. And so after the visit, if it's on site, virtually, we discard any information once you have been awarded. What the observer will not do when they conduct the observation is give any type of mentoring or advice to the provider. They will not play with the children, as I stated, that they are to be a fly on the wall. They are required to go off-site to eat lunch, so they won't eat lunch with the provider and the children. And they will not collect parent surveys or any other materials at that time. That should be sent straight to NAFCC, and this protects the fidelity of the program. And they will not give feedback on the visit. You know, once the visit is over, they will not give any feedback. Once you have been observed and everything is packaged, the observers have 48 hours to send all of your information to NAFCC. And that's when it goes into the decision phase. And so in the decision phase, we will look at all of the documents submitted, the observation workbook. We will see if you have 80% of your parent surveys, just to make certain that you fully demonstrated all of the compliance with the standards. So once you're in this phase, you will either be awarded accreditation, awarded a conditional accreditation. And what I mean by a conditional accreditation, if there's a notation on the observer workbook, whereas the observer has seen like an electrical outlet that wasn't covered and wants to make certain that that is covered for the health and safety of children, we will flag that, award you a conditional accreditation, and ask you to send in pictures to make certain that that item was corrected. And so at this time, we can defer accreditation if your score is below a 90 percentile. And in some cases, we certainly can deny accreditation. Once you have received your accreditation, we award our accreditation for 3 years. We ask you to commit to an ongoing commitment to quality and professionalism in family child care. And so the 18-month accreditation update is due midpoint of your accreditation, since it is awarded for 3 years. So you should apply at least 3 months before the expiration date of your 18-month update. And so the 18-month update also, there's a cost included for that, which is $160 plus your annual membership fee of $45. So what's required in that 18-month update? It's going to be a completed application, which is abbreviated, a CPR and first aid certificate, your current license, federal state mandated background check clearance, a current health form, and current TB screening form. We just want to make certain that you are up to date and in compliance with all of the forms. In some cases, when we have had providers apply for accreditation, some of the forms had been near expiration. So this 18-month update is really just a check and balance to make certain that you are still in compliance with our required quality standards to be accredited. At this time, you do not have to submit training, but on our portal, if you want to upload additional training hours, you may do so. You will not be required to be observed at this particular time. Once you have been awarded, you've updated your 18-month update, we certainly want to applaud you and make certain that we can support you in sustaining your accreditation by re-accrediting. And so, as I stated earlier, accreditation is awarded for 3 years. We do ask you to reapply at least 6 months before your expiration date to avoid any lapses. And so in the requirements to accreditation is to make certain that, again, you are adhering to the accreditation standards and NAFCC policies. This is also a time where you could report any changes if you've moved or if you've changed assistants, or if you would like your assistant to be listed as a co-provider. And it also provides you with a time frame to make certain that you are continuously assessing your environment, policies, and practices to make sure that they are aligned with NAFCC standards. In sustaining your accreditation, we only ask that you submit 90 hours of training within the child care field within the last 3 years. So if you've gotten your degree within the last 3 years, we will give you credit for your degree. You know, if you had not gotten it when you first submitted your accreditation application and you present it to us as a new degree within that 3 years, we will give you credit for those clock hours that I mentioned earlier. As I stated, apply 6 months before the expiration date. And when you do apply for reaccreditation, your program will be reobserved. So our recap is when you want to enroll in self-study, you must enroll in self-study and stay in it for a minimum of 6 months after receipt of the kit. Once you stay in self-study for 6 months, then you will be eligible to apply for accreditation, in which the process to be awarded takes about 3 to 4 months. After you've been awarded accreditation for 3 years, we ask that you maintain your accreditation and commitment to quality and submit your 18-month update, and then continue to reaccredit every 3 years. So the accreditation journey is simply about planning. And then I will say for all of the mentors and coaches that's on this session, that if you have a program that you are doing, like if you're training and supporting family child care educators to become accredited, I would recommend that you actually enroll in self-study, have them enroll in self-study, and that as soon as your training is over, if it's over in a 6-month span, that your family child care educators will be ready and prepared to enter into the application process, and there's no lapse in between. And so that is, the planning and preparation to actually submit your accreditation application. And then it's really about executing, right? Making certain that those practices are in alignment with our quality standards. And then that process gets repeated. And there's a continuum of care to children and families, and a continuum of professional standards in your family child care home. And so certainly you can continue to connect with us. If you have any additional questions, you can email us at accreditation@nafcc.org. You can certainly reach out to me. I will drop my email in the chat. And that concludes our presentation on the commitment to quality in you. And if you have any questions, I am happy to answer them.
First of all, thank you. I mean, this is a lot of information, very helpful to kind of see what the process is and kind of how it's going to flow and all that. Does anybody have any questions? I have one quick crazy question, but does anybody else have any questions they want to ask?
Well, it is very similar to the star rating. They're similar. The only difference that I see, well, it is a little different, but the biggest difference is the membership and just being a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
It is it's am I correct? $425 a year, and then the membership.
So Miss Sandra, the membership is only $45.
Okay, membership is $45.
per year. Yep. And
Okay,
yeah, and so with that, I do believe that you're speaking of the value. And I forgot to mention that we have our annual conference where you will be invited to and have a membership rate of being able to participate in those workshops and be a part of those professional networks that can support your leadership development in family child care.
oh yeah, well, that cleared it up.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. Okay. And the parent survey, and then I'll let someone else speak. Um, just to be clear with that, the parents that I have in my facility, they will have to take a survey, and I forward these to you all.
So we will ask in the application for the parent email so we can send the survey directly to them and then they send
Oh,
it directly back to us.
okay,
Because family and relationships are a big part of our quality standards. And so we weigh parent surveys very heavily in your application consideration.
makes sense. Okay. And let me see, is there a third one? Then I will let Stephanie and Miss Lynn jump and whomever, Miss Deidre. Um, um, I think, okay, when it said that the people that will come out and they will look at the records, are they talking about the children files or what records?
Yes, they're going to be, that's a really great question. So they're going to be looking at when you apply for accreditation, the application is going to ask you for the children that's enrolled. So they're going to have an enrollment sheet and they're going to be checking that enrollment against what you have on file.
Okay,
They're
got it.
not going to violate any health and HIPAA laws. It's really about enrollment.
Okay, Miss Neely, you did a fantastic job. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sandra. Those were some really great questions.
And hi, this is Stephanie.
Hi, Ms. Stephanie.
My question is it very quantitative, like with going through FICRAs right now? I'm sure we'll find out in the self-study packet, but for the most part with FICRAs, we have a very quantitative approach. So when the evaluators come out, they actually count through all of our dolls, count through, the materials. And so I guess my question is, I don't want to have to try to find different materials than the stuff that I've already purchased and invested in. I have all those things, so that part is always the easy check mark for me with the FICRAS piece. So I was just trying to find out, is that same type of quantitative and also subjective in terms of someone
That is
watching my
that's
interaction?
a very excellent question. And so it is more or less it's not quantitative, it's a lot of qualitative standards. We have something where what we call the many right ways and how you can reach a standard. And we know family child care homes are different across the board and in diverse settings. So they may have a standard that asks if there are toys that are diverse and reflective of the children that you serve. And so the observer will put yes or no.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That helps. So
Yes.
far it looks like a very seamless process. You still have someone with you for 4 hours, which is interesting because the kids are always trying to hug and touch them.
Right. And they understand that too. And we do observer training as well. And so the observers are practitioners in the field, and some are family educators that have been, that's retired or still practicing. And so they understand and know what to look for. But because we understand family child care homes look different for different cultures, different environments. We have what we call the many right ways and how a standard could be met.
Okay. And then my one last thing is that I'm excited about this potential process being more readily available in North Carolina. My house is one of those open yet closed configuration homes. So I don't have the
Mhm.
perfect square. So I usually would lose points because of supervision. Even though I'm not a statue, that's what my argument was, that I move with ebb and flows with the kids so that there isn't a true blind spot. I guess there is a nook. So we have like a
Mhm.
reading nook. I have my
Mhm.
music nook. And before I lost a lot of, even though I had all my quantitative stuff before, I only got 2 points. I barely made my 5 stars just because of the structure of my house. You know, I can't, and I even looked into moving one of the walls, and I can't. That's a main support beam wall. And so, does the NAFCC have a better evaluation process in terms of that? Because that creates a lot of anxiety for me, knowing that, you know, I can't really do much about the way my house is configured. You know, I have all the areas and all of the, you know, like we have our dramatic play and all of that, and it's all lined up, but there's some configuration areas for like the bathroom, the way we do dining, even though I keep the kids with us and we move together. It's like a little herd. I'm herding little sheep for the
Yeah,
most part.
yeah. So on some of the items, so what we have too in our standards, they are called starred items, where you must meet those particular items. And what's good about self-study enrollment is that you see exactly what we're going to observe you against. And so more, less, not quantitative, but does the provider have a space where children, are, they're supervised at all times. So it may ask the question in that form. So our observers are going to simply put, yes, this standard is met, not met, or partially met. If it is partially met, then they are required to explain what do they mean by partially met, because then there's another set of eyes. So when the observer scores the observation, we have a score that actually checks the observer what they scored to make certain that it's not subjective, that it's objective against the standard. So if there is an extra explanation of what that means, we want to know that explanation, and we look at all of the information. When you do your observation and your pre-visit or your interview, that is where, if there is something that is of caution, because you're going to know before you get observed, what areas might be some areas of concern. And you'll be able to talk with the observer around that to be able to say, this is how we mitigate those things. But yes, in terms of that being an exact measurement, there are in some of our standards in terms of, the environment, but just look at those supervision pieces when you're going through accreditation to make sure that you are aligned, and then what that would look like, right? Then know that there is many right ways, which should be comforting to you to make sure that you meet those standards. It may not be the same way that Lynn meets her standard. It's going to be very different, and our observers are trained in that way to recognize that either you met it or you didn't meet it. I hope that was helpful, because I don't have all of the 289 indicators memorized in my head, but I think based upon what your question, pull that out. I like it. That's a good question. Thank you. In terms of the differ, and from the quantitative and qualitative, and highlighting the many right ways. I think you will find our quality standards to be very digestible, and I'm certain that you are already on the right track. I encourage you to look at it, and I'm sure you'll figure out a way.
I'm going to go ahead and ask my question, because this is more like logistical more than anything else. So we can support the homes that we're working with. So are we able, to like purchase a self-study guide that we can use as like a resource for our team? Or I mean, I think one time when I looked at it, it looked like it's like, oh, I had to be when I was signing up that you had to be a program. Is there a way to be able to, get one for
So we
our
ask
reference?
that you go through our quality ambassador training and
Okay,
become a certified accreditation trainer, where you
okay.
will get a self-study kit. And it's really the same price as the self-study kit. We are offering that training now in July.
Is that the one that we talked about that's part of the conference?
Mhm.
Okay, great. Okay. Okay.
Can I ask a question? Based on what Stephanie was asking with the supervision, if somebody have something like a supervision mirror, would that suffice or no? That would still be an issue.
What is it? A
So at times you have
supervision
like a
mirror?
supervision mirror that you mount on the wall that reflects back. So I can be on this, but once I look at the mirror, it kind of gives me view of the whole classroom. Even though I have
Mhm.
those hidden areas, would that help? Or
I would have to look deeper at the standard.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to give you any information that is incorrect. I would need to look deeply into the standard. Because like I was explaining earlier, we do have the standards set up where you can meet them, in different ways. So I won't say that that would be a wrong way to do it, because the observer, if they're there, they could say, "Oh, okay, Ms. Corey is meeting this particular standard by way of the supervision mirror." Like, we don't have the supervision mirror listed in our standard, but it would be something alluding to how you are supervising the kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just for me, as we are thinking through the process, how do we support them to be successful in that process? So if you can look into it, that would be helpful. Because if
Yeah, and this is what I will say, and this is why accreditation requires those state licenses, right? And that's what we want you to be able to have within your state, that highest regulation that the state requires. And so, and then when you have that, with your accreditation application, once it comes to us, we are observing standards at a very higher level, in which that may, be addressed within a standard, but not specific to what you just asked, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And that's actually a question I had, was also about the STAR system. Well, we have a STAR system in North Carolina. So in you saying the highest, like, so that means for us, and I heard you say like state licensing, which we have a tiered system. So, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is like, they would almost have to be doing two things. Like right now, we're in the works of hopefully accreditation being an option to get that higher STAR license, but that's not in place yet in North Carolina. So if you're saying they have to be the highest, then they're going to have to go through one and then go through this in addition. Is that what you're saying? Okay, so that's okay. Until those new rules.
So, yeah, so it would be whatever the highest regulation is in your state. And then we will research that as part of your packaging for accreditation application. So whatever is the highest regulation in your state, if it's a state license, that is what we will need as part of your accreditation application.
So, okay, so I think I might be hearing two different things. So I just want to make sure we understand. So because you're saying a state license. So, and I know like in some states, like you don't have to have one if you're doing a childcare in your home, that kind of stuff. So, but ours is like you could have a 1 to a 5 star. So you're not saying they have to have the highest level You're saying as long as they're licensed.
They have to be licensed.
Okay, that's okay. And that's what the way you described it, I thought that's what you meant, but I wanted to make sure. Okay, good. Okay. All right. Thank you for clarifying that.
Absolutely.
We don't want everybody to have to go through two processes till this
I
whole rule
understand.
change. It's like that
I
would not be what
understand.
we would
Yes.
want. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And just out of curiosity, will there ever be two assessors or would it always be one? One
Always
is
one
already,
observer.
okay, yeah, because two is very intimidating, being in such a confined space.
Yes, we will only send one observer.
Thank you.
And my last question is, can anyone do the ambassador training that's coming up in July if you pay your membership and do that component, or?
There are certain requirements for the accreditation quality ambassador training, and we do require a resume. We do require that you have some training experience, adult training experience,
Mhm.
and some experience in early childcare.
Okay. No, well, because Miss Sandra is like our super go-to right now for the Vickers process. And so, you know, I think that that will be a good opportunity for her. I know I would love to just learn more about it just in general. I used to do
Absolutely.
facilitation, but the reason why I ask is because typically for those of us who've done our 5 stars, Miss Sandra came out and helped us get our placements. And, you know, you may have read through the book, but for our market in Wake County, she has always been such a key person for helping come out. So I think, you know, in addition to Lynn, I know your team is doing it, gonna try to look into it, but I think that that's, I was just trying to make sure what was entailed for that.
Yeah, and if you have, so the information is on our website.
Okay,
If you have any additional questions, please reach out to me. I'm gonna put my email in the chat,
okay.
and I think that that would be great to become a certified accreditation ambassador. And to be able to support family child care educators and mentor them through the accreditation process.
Well, that was so sweet of Miss Stephanie, but I nominated her. But Miss Stephanie Jenkins, who just came on, she was the honoree that helped us, you know, become 5 stars. And then they took that away from the homes that we had to fend for ourselves. And she taught us so well that we were able to go in and help one another from what she had taught us. So we commend you, Stephanie Jenkins, for helping us and maintaining 5 stars.
Good. That, you know, and it sounds like to Lynn, Miss Sandra, and Miss Stephanie, that you all already have your cohort. So I want to be able to support cohort development on our side and whatever that looks like. And so, you know, just certainly reach out to us if you want to share this with a larger group. We certainly can do another accreditation overview for you, because things are going to be moving fast on our end, changing. We're coming up with new standards. And I think that, you know, the support system that you all have, I think the Quality Ambassador Program would be best for you, in addition to the observer training too. So, you know, if you have family child care educators going through the accreditation process, you certainly want to have observers in your community, which that only helps the process go by faster. Right, when we can have someone in the community that's not involved with the cohort, because we don't, you know, want to have that conflict of interest. So, you know, one person will always need to stand out, so, you know, they can do the observations. But yes, whenever you all are ready to do cohort development or need any support, just reach out to me, and I will make certain that I point you in the right direction or give you the right direction.
We appreciate that.
Do we get a copy of your PowerPoint, Wayne?
Yes, I will email it to Lynn.
Okay, thank you.
And Carol, I actually recorded today's session too,
Okay.
so, yeah.
This was
Anybody
really
have any-
informative. So I'm thankful, Lynn, for inviting us on. I think
Yes.
I'm glad y'all could attend,
Mm.
and we'll share it out to the larger group too, so, to have some basics. Any other questions? Well, we got the guru right here with us. Well, thank you for taking the time, and,
Absolutely.
yeah, we really appreciate it. And so okay, I'm gonna stop this so we don't have my comments at the end. But I will share this out with